All right. All right. We here. We are here. We here. We here. We here. Um, I wanted to do StreamYard because I wanted some of you to, you know, chime in, but I was outside working in the yard, so I didn't know StreamYard. Well, it's not difficult, but it's not something that you can just have a crash course within the 5 minutes. So salute Canes, Dolphins, LMV, QB, Mr. Overdose, Pilo. Happy holidays to you, brother. Um, so you know what I think? A shot, okay, you running past CP time. um, I don't know if I can stay in this room and do this because the stream is kind of lagging. But anyway, we're gonna make it do what it do. So my quarterback got one leg. He didn't have but one leg. My quarterback ain't got but one leg. Ellen say we were waiting on the other stream. Yeah, Ellen. Yeah, we back. We back on regular scheduled programming. So we'll try the StreamYard thing next time. P-Law said we gotta talk about the defense today. No, we ain't talking about the defense today. We ain't talking about the defense today. You know why we ain't talking about the defense today? Because ain't nobody here to talk about the defense. We here to talk about my quarterback having one leg. That's what we're here to talk about. My quarterback, our quarterback, he have one leg, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if they said what they said to make us feel sorry for Tyler by saying that the muscle was detached from the skin. And the only remedy or the only rehab that he was supposed to do was to put a hot pad on his inner thigh. I don't know. Maybe someone that knows about the anatomy and stuff like that. You can say, maybe you can bring up how that works. But I don't know. What I'm gonna do about my legs? QB, bruh, that is funny. Charlie Murphy, hey, Charlie Murphy did that. What I'm gonna do with my legs, Charlie Murphy? Hey. So now he had a bum finger and a bum knee. Yeah, JB11 didn't play it down, even though he remained under the red shirt. Hey, Mr. Overdose, we're gonna talk about that. Now, I'm not gonna go as far as some of the other content creators I've heard. I'm not gonna go that far. If you want to go that far, you can go over there and check them out. But I'm not going that far. You know what I'm saying? Shot, if you say one leg one more time. Ellen, he had one leg. That's what they told us. He had one leg. But anyway, man, I'm mentally exhausted, to be honest with you. Going back and forth with people on message boards, going back and forth with people on Twitter. You would think that we didn't even have a game, right? We didn't even have a game. You know what I'm saying? Bruh, Zoe, LJ with Super Saiyan. Hey, Mr. Overdose. I promise you, what's today? Today is Wednesday. I got home yesterday night. Well, no, I got home Monday night, but I left out again Tuesday morning. But Monday night, when I was heading back home, I turned it on. Pause. That didn't sound right. I turned it on and I said, yo, it's crazy. And I think I heard like another one of their broadcasts too. And it was like the same thing. I was like, I'm not going there. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going there. One of the brothers called in and said we only had two. Shannon Dawson only had two brothers that played quarterback. One of them was Gino, and the other one ain't here no more. I said, bro, I'm not going there. I'm not going there. Then what it was? Someone posted some subtle in reference to Shannon Dawson saying something about he'd rather deal with a quarterback with poor mechanics versus someone that has to learn the position or something like that. I said, bro, I'm not doing it. I like to try to keep that stuff away from sports because I know sports is supposed to be the place that we all come together, pause. But obviously sometimes that type of discussion has an overlap into it. But you know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna talk about it, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna look at it like this. I'm gonna say that he saw the writing on the wall, and similar to how they do in the NFL, I don't want to play or might well or the NBA is a better example. I don't want to play because I want to get traded, right? Which trading now is the transfer portal. So I don't want to get hurt. You know what I'm saying? But it's so crazy right now. We got TVD non-committal on whether or not he gonna play in the bowl game, and like it's a real discussion now. Could Rashard Smith be the quarterback for the bowl game? Crazy. Heard JB didn't play this year because he was transferring. I mean, Pilo, it's possible. You know what I'm saying? It's possible. I wouldn't. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I don't think he probably be the only one that that transfers. When you kind of look at the way that the year has gone. But it is what it is. But so yeah, the game. I think most of us felt like we had a good opportunity to beat Louisville, even with TV playing. I felt that way because it's Louisville. I'm looking at recency bias. I'm not necessarily paying attention to the ranking that they have beside their name. They were 10th, but I'm not. It's Louisville. You know what I'm saying? I didn't look at this Louisville team being in the same type of air as the Louisville teams that we played under Charlie Strong's leadership. I didn't see that. I didn't see a Louisville team like that. But hats off to Jeff Brom and the Louisville Cardinals. You know what I mean? It seems like they may actually have an opportunity to actually maybe win the ACC championship. So I'm sure that'll be another talking point for the guys that like to go back and forth. But I thought the offense played well. I think most of us think the offense played well. Mark Fletcher, what's up, Wayne? Mark Fletcher had a great bounce back game. You know, some of the fans, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? He had a freshman type of game against Florida State, and now it's well, he doesn't have any vision and he doesn't need to play and all that. Then he goes out there against Louisville, looking like one of the best running backs in the entire country, and now it's like, hey, So I don't know. Heard a podcaster complain about everything Shannon Dawson is a solution was to find a quarterback. QB, we're gonna touch on that because I put that on Twitter today. I said we went from all we needed was a competent defense to now we're talking about we need a quarterback, right? But when we look at we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. I want to talk about the game first, even though I know most people the game happened, but it's the stuff outside of the game that is you know what I mean, garnering all the headlines. But let's talk about the game, and then we'll get to all that. So ran the ball well, threw the ball very well. TVD didn't turn the ball over, so that was a plus. Even saw him run the ball, which again, that was amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing that a man with one leg can run the ball. Quarterback ain't having one leg. Didn't really see him push the ball, down the field very much. So obviously that pushing the ball down the field, obviously that helped, having a base allows you to push the ball down the field the way that you push it down the field. So I didn't really see too many of those particular passes. But I was happy with what I saw from the offense. X got back involved. I think at one point in time they showed a graphic. Obviously he didn't have a catch against Florida State. He dropped some passes. Some passes were behind him, stuff like that. But he didn't have a bounce back game. I think when the graphic was showed, it was 6 catches for like over 100 yards. And I think what is the stat? Like he's 124 yards away from 1,000 yards. So depending on the weather in BC, he could get that. And I think X would be the type that would play in a bowl game. So I think it's maybe safe to say that X could go over 1,000 yards. I think it's safe to say Jacoby George will go over 800, and Kobe Young should get his 600. So, all in all, those are some positives, right? That's progress, right? I know that's the thing that people are talking about, and I don't want to come off as like I'm being a negative Nancy by any stretch. You know what I mean? But there are some positives. There is some progress. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's some progress in many guys being the two leading receivers this particular year, right? That's progress. Um, Progress on the offensive line. You know what I mean? Progress to see Jalen Rivers, a guy who many people felt like was going to be a very, very good offensive lineman, to see that come to fruition, for him to lock down the left tackle spot, which is a very important spot. That's a positive. You know what I mean? Um, Positive for James Williams to, play the way that he played. He hasn't had many personal fouls this year, so that's a positive. Um, I mean, it's a lot of positives, but a lot of the positives are associated with last year. I really want to get positives and progress from 2021. But anyway, we'll get to that. Go Tigers. Good to see you in here, bro. TVD supposedly has something called um I can't pronounce that word. Maybe it's my Mississippi education, so I'm not even gonna try to pronounce sound out. Treatments are skin grafts, amputations on that part, and skin reattachment all require surgery. Oh wow! I mean, just for them saying that muscle is detached from the skin, yeah, they got to go inside. They got to go inside of that. Pause. Pilo had to get into it with NMD Canes about Dawson not throwing the tight ends when he did it at Houston last year. NMD Canes, he's an interesting character. Um, And it does cause a lot of pain and discomfort, swelling, because fluid can get in between skin and muscle. Yeah, degloving. Okay, cool. Facts. Everybody talking about progress from Mario's decision last year. Yeah, QB. But again, I don't want to jump ahead. So the game. Uh, but yeah, it was good. You know what I mean? Offensively, you know, I'm. I know a lot was made about that last personal foul on Jacoby George in the holding. I don't think that I didn't see it being as bad as the first one, where you could literally see that his jersey had been pulled off of his shoulder pad. Um, I think TVD could have threw a better pass, and maybe George could have got a hand on it, maybe tipped it, and maybe been able to catch the ball. But in situations like that, man, just let him play. I didn't see anything egregious. I didn't see a situation where him grabbing George right here preventing him from jumping for the ball. George was able to jump for the ball. Now, obviously, it may have prevented him from getting his other hand up in the air, but again, like I said, I didn't see a very just. It wasn't a great pass by TVD. But in situations like that, just kind of throwing the ball in the area, it's fourth down, and you're hoping that you get a pass interference call, right? And that's one of the things that I don't like about college football. That's one of the things I don't like about the NFL. And you can hear it in the announcers. Hey, just throw it down the field. Let's get a cheap 15 yards. I really don't like that, right? I like for situations like that, let the guys play, right? He didn't tackle him to the ground. It wasn't as bad as the initial one, you know, regardless of how many times people, play that replay. It did not look as bad as the one where he literally pulled his jersey off of his shoulder pads. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't think it was that bad, but obviously Jacoby George thought it was that bad. Got a personal foul, hit the guy in the face, had to come down on the sideline. And I know some people may, and I even saw Denzel Perryman tweet at it. Denzel Perryman's, I'm paraphrasing, said, "Hey, G got a lot of emotions, right? He's too emotional. You got to control the controllables." And I understood what Perryman was saying, but then at the same time, I'm looking at it like that wasn't just that holding call. That's a culmination of this entire season, and I think that's something that I think I heard that on. I think I heard that on Canesville. They made mention of that, saying like, "Look, man, it's a lot of frustration, and it just exploded." But but Jacoby George is my favorite player on the offense, so I'm gonna go to bat for him. But So of course I'm gonna say I didn't see much wrong with the passion. Maybe you don't hit the guy in the face, you know what I mean? But he played a good game though. You know what I mean? Played a good game. Canes Dolphins, your side. I'm sick and tired of some Canes fans thinking we're the Miami overnight hurricanes. It takes time to build one. Canes Dolphin, I'm gonna address that. Again, I'm looking at these comments. It's like nobody said nothing about the game. We want to kind of talk about all the off the field stuff. So I'm gonna make this as quick as possible. Because let's get to what we get. Let's get what we came. Let's get to what we came here for. Defensively, as bad as the defense looked, you know, games are not won and lost on one play. But I think most people wouldn't be necessarily talking about the defensive performance had to Corey Couch and Jaden Davis not running to each other. I think that really was the straw that broke the camel's back. I mean, Brom was dialing some things up. Gidry was fighting back to counter. Both teams gave both defenses, which were two good defenses in the ACC, and even nationally, even though Louisville defense wasn't as good as ours from a ranking perspective, but two good defenses. Dawson was able to devise a plan that exposed Louisville. Brom was able to devise a plan that exposed us, right? And I think that one particular play was a play that hurt. You got two guys running into each other. I don't really know what you do in a situation like that. You know, should you switch it off? Probably should switch it off. A guy going in because it looks like a natural pick play. But then again, I don't know the call because you got situations where he had enough room to where Couch could have cleared Davis without running into him. And then that play is, wrapped up. Maybe we force him out the pocket, maybe force another turnover. But that was just bad. And then I do not know what happened on the back end with Cam. You got the sideline right there. Coleman didn't really. I didn't see a move that he put on him that should have had a situation where it's like it shouldn't have been a score. Even with Jaden Davis and Corey Couch running into each other, I thought Cam had a good enough angle to where it wasn't a threat of him cutting back in and running back across the field, but he took it up the sideline. I mean, it's just a bad play. I mean, it's bad all the way around, man. It was ugly. You know what I mean? That gives that look. I'm gonna tell you a play that was uglier than that. I'm about to go back to I think it was 2012, I believe. Maybe 2013, where we're playing Virginia Tech. I think we were at the crib, and Logan Thomas, the big quarterback for Virginia Tech, they run like a quarterback draw, and the middle of the field is wide open, and he just takes off and runs down the middle of the field untouched. I said, bro, these are some ugly plays. So that's like one of the first plays that came to my mind when I saw that. I was like, bro, this is ugly. This is bad. Like this is some bad football we're playing right here, right? But all in all, Cam was able to get a pick. LT, being down, I think that kind of hurt. But I'm not going to overvalue LT's impact on the game in terms of maybe him being the difference. It's like Louisville was a good offense. They could run the ball, they could throw the ball. So luckily, I think it helped us some that their go-to receiver he was dealing with the hand injury because I know that one play where they threw it and they had the first down, but he dropped the ball. But it was a good game, man. I really think it was a 50-50 game. Is what was interesting to me that Louisville matched up that well against us, which is something that's interesting to me because obviously we could have played better defensively. Obviously, everyone can say that. Maybe we could have played a little bit better offensively. But that was a good team. You know what I mean? That was a good team. But you know, I'm not gonna say I don't know if the better team won. You know what I mean? We won the turnover battle. We outgained them. I don't know the third down statistics, but I think it was a good game. You know what I mean? I know some people are in the mindset of saying, "Hey, look at what Jeff Brom is doing year one for Louisville," and that's cool. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna get into that. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get into that. I had my fun last year doing it, but I'm over that now. So that's it, man. About the game. Um, that's it. So let's get to what we came here for. So um, I was on a message board, right? And someone brought something to my attention. It brought something to my attention because the narrative is that Mario inherited such a terrible, terrible situation, right? And what that particular person brought to my attention is there are some websites out here that you can go back and you can kind of look at progress in terms of power ranking. Power ranking takes a lot of things into consideration, strength of schedule, I guess, talent on the team, all the good stuff like that, right? So one of the sources that he provided, I wasn't able to go on there and look because you have to have an ESPN Plus membership, right? So I got four sources here. These are power rankings from 2021, at the conclusion of 2021, between Miami and Oregon, right? The four sources, so you can go back and look at them yourself. It's College Football News, ESPN, FBI, TeamRanking.com, and College Football Poll. Right. So what I did was I went to the end of the season and I saw where they had these particular teams ranked in terms of power ranking, and this is what I was able to come up with. So this is at the end of 2021. So Oregon, according to College Football News, was the 31st ranked team in the country based on a power ranking at the end of 2021. Miami was 49th. Now, I don't really see a big gap between 49 and 31, but some people may see one, but I don't really see one, but it is what it is. Um, ESPN FBI, which is interesting, they had Miami ranked as the 23rd best team from a power ranking standpoint. Oregon was 30th. It's ESPN FBI. TeamRanking.com had Oregon ranked 31st, Miami 32nd. And College Football Poll, which is, I think it's like a gambling site. Again, all of these are at the end of the year. They had Miami as high as 18th, and Oregon was 25th. So, kind of when you look at this, it kind of looks like from this, obviously, this is not my opinion. These are analytics. This is computers. Obviously, these things don't include, again, these things do not include transfers that were able to come to the team in 2022. It doesn't include that. Culture, which is something that people talk about. Um, Irving Figueroa said, "Oh, you're talking about Emory. I thought you were saying with injuries. This thing, it has to include the injuries because obviously we had a lot of injuries in 2021. Oregon had some injuries in 2021 as well. But from these particular power rankings, it looks like both coaches took over similar situations. Now, obviously, with us being Miami Hurricane fans, we're a lot closer. We can talk about culture. We can talk about um, Manny being lackadaisical in terms of that. But again, this may rub some people the wrong way, but I think we all can be in agreement here that at the conclusion of the 2021 season, the thing that we all bang the table for was that, hey, if we get a competent defense, there's no reason that Mario Cristobal cannot come in here and win 9 or 10 games. That's what was the general consensus because we felt we were a defense away, and I felt that way too, right? I think most of us felt that way. Now, obviously, we're 2 years later, 11 and 12. Oregon, Dan Lanning has lost a grand total of 3 games in 2 years, or maybe 4 games in 2 years. Um, Differences, right? So y'all can take with that what you will, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? QB, Miami's a different situation. The other 100+ schools, they didn't have many. QB, the more I listen to Kane content creators, the more I hear people say that Miami's is such a unique job, how it's so different than any other place, how it's so hard to coach here, how all of these particular variables occur. And I just like, look, man, I'm not gonna say Miami kids are different because the thing about it is I have family members that stay in Miami. I have family in Miami or just Dade County area. And a lot of those people during earlier points, they moved to Miami from Mississippi for better opportunity. I had an uncle that did that. I had cousins that did that, right? And my cousins that live in Miami, you know, the only difference between me and them was that they grew up in the city. But in terms of just the attitude, the mindset, all that particular stuff, we were the same. And we had cousins that stayed in Alabama. We were the same. The only difference was y'all were in the city, we were in the country. Life was not any easier for us than it was for y'all in terms of if you did not live directly in the city. But as far as mannerisms, now again, they were exposed to a little bit more, again, because they're in the city, so they probably a little bit faster in terms of just being quick witted. But there was no difference between me and my cousins. So I'm, oh man, what I do? Unplug my doggone thing. Hold on, give me a second. Hold up, man. Oh, there we go. My bad. I'm sorry. I stepped on my cord. But I didn't. It wasn't really a difference between me and my cousins that lived in Miami. You know, except for the fact that they were in the city, right? Um, Athlete for athlete, you know what I mean? But that's just my thought process about it. Um, people disagree about that. So I mean, it is what it is. But like I said, I can only talk from my experience. Like I said, I got cousins that live in Miami, family that lives in Miami, and like I said, the only difference is you're in the city, I'm in the country. You know what I mean? So Irving X, do you believe Emory is the future since we know that TVD wasn't the answer even before the injuries? Do I believe Emory is the future? Um, that's a pretty loaded question, to be honest. I don't want to make it seem like I'm trying to avoid the answer to the question, but it depends on a lot. But since you asked that question, let's get into it. Um, we're at the conclusion of this season, and the general consensus right now on November 22nd, 5:41 p.m. Central Standard Time, because I'm in the Central Time Zone. The general consensus is all we need is a quarterback. Now, what we're not taking into consideration is how do we know that the offensive line is going to be as good next year as it is now? Because we had Javion Cohen, which was a big addition. Matt Lee was a huge addition, right? And for the most part, we were relatively healthy, right? Jalen Rivers still has a decision to make. What if Jalen Rivers doesn't come back? Right? What if he does come back? Francis Mary Noah. Will Francis Mary Noah take that next step that he needs to take? Because that play that he gave up, that huge sack that probably nearly decapitated Tyler Van Dyke. He's had a couple of those. He's had a couple of penalties and things of that nature. So we're expecting for him to take a next step, right? But so if I knew for a fact that our offensive line was going to be as good or better next year, then I could say, okay, we could put Emory in a situation, but I need to see Emory throw the ball a little bit better, right? So to say Emory is the answer, I can't answer that question without knowing the status, the stat, the how good our offensive line is going to be, right? Because a situation like this happened back in 2014, right? Brad Kaya was a true freshman. Um, that was probably our best offensive line since this offensive line that we have now. And Brad had a very good year because he had protection. Now, the 2015 and 2016 seasons, we could see that the offensive line production went down and then it peaked again in 2017. But so right now we're at a peak position, and now we have to see if we can maintain that level, right? And I just think that not seeing a lot of the reserves. I know people are high on guys. You know what I mean? Matt, McCoy. I think it's Frankie. Obviously Pancake, but no one ever disclosed what Pancake's injury was, right? So I don't know. And then when I talk about Jalen Rivers, will Jalen Rivers return or will Matt Lee return? Those two guys get to sit there and look at Zion Nelson, who was going into his last, going into last year, well, after the conclusion of the 2021 season, looked at as a first round can't miss left tackle. And he has not played any significant football in going on 2 years. So do I want to run it back when I'm literally right there, when I'm inches away from going to the NFL? You know what I mean? And another thing that kind of bothers me is when guys say, well, why don't the guys come back again? It's like, bro, it's only 32 picks in the first round. It's only 64 picks in the first two rounds. Um, Everyone's not gonna come back and be a second round pick, right? So it's nothing wrong with being a third round. There's nothing wrong with being a fourth rounder. There's nothing wrong with being a fifth rounder, honestly, because it's only what 260 some picks in the entire NFL draft. If you're one of those 260 picks, bro, you made it. Now the opportunity may not be as grand, but people like to put it out here. It's like, bro, it's 120 some odd Division I schools that have the opportunity to have players go to the NFL draft. If you're getting a third, fourth round, if you're getting a draft grade, period, it may be something to think about. Man, that's an excuse fans make. So yeah. I mean, I'm over it now, Scarbreeze. I mean, I promise. I'm so over it because like I'm taking my opinion out of it. I'm going straight to the analytics. Analytics say you both you guys took over a similar situation, right? So I don't have to talk about it anymore, to be honest. I hope so because I don't believe Mario's the answer in Miami. It's people that feel that way too. I mean, I'm not gonna talk about it. I know a lot of people are talking about, hey, fire Mario, but I'm not with that, right? I mean, I'm with them. Give him time, let him work. You know what I mean? But again, bro, it's only so much explanations you can do for 11 and 12 and 5 and 10 in conference. It's only so much you can do. Now we can talk about Manny being blew out by North Carolina. We can talk about 4th and 19. We can talk about 3rd and 17. We can talk about FIU. We can talk about Central Michigan. We can talk. We can even talk about you know um, Alabama. We can talk about the Michigan State game. We can talk about all of that particular stuff. All of that stuff happened, but we were not 11 and 12. This is a results oriented business. I saw someone put on Twitter that you can tell this is a good team. Look at the spreads. And I said, bro, I've never heard a university come out and say that we're retaining a coach because the Vegas spreads said that we are a good team. But what does the record book say? Now, again, I have two different mindsets a lot of times. Sometimes I'm like, bro, this is terrible. This is this. Like, man, maybe we should have went in a different direction. But in the same, but because I want to feel what Georgia fans feel. I want to feel what Alabama fans feel, Ohio State fans feel. Because again, full transparency, I became heavily involved in watching Miami Hurricane football when I got to college, which was in 2000. Well, when my last in 2006, to be honest, right? So I was a casual fan, '01, '02, stuff like that. Wiz McGahee, he my favorite player, but I became just dead set of my loving Miami really in 2006. So in reality, I don't know what it feels like to be the best team in college football. I don't know what that feels like, So that's the way I look at it. Dennis Lopez, Mario is a QB killer, can't get his hands out the offense. Oregon fan. Hey, Dennis, you know what's crazy about that? I put something on Twitter, bro, and this is crazy. Think about this. Mario Cristobal inherited a good quarterback room at the time. You get TVD, which was ACC Freshman of the Year. You get Jay Garcia, which was a top 100 quarterback, and you get Jakari Brown, one of the best quarterbacks in the state of Georgia. Those are the three quarterbacks. Now think about this. 2 years later, T's a head case. Jay Garcia's third string at Missouri, and Jakari Brown's on the verge of transferring. And Emory Williams has a broken arm. Talk about the luck, bro. I ain't gonna say you the QB Michael Myers. I ain't gonna say that, but bro, that's crazy. When you think about it. Like, bro, that's really crazy. And we didn't get a transfer portal quarterback. So it's crazy. Irvin, Miami has a tremendously bright. Why am I grabbing the mouse? I'm on a freaking laptop. Grabbing my mouse. Bright future. I believe we have some of the best recruits in ACC in the country. Um, I don't. I mean, I think yeah, Mario can go head to head. I think Kevin Beard has shown this particular year what he can do. I think Jason Taylor is doing well. A day, he's doing solid. You know, I wouldn't say that this is a ace recruiting team. I think we're solid. You know what I mean? But I think this is a situation where Mario's lead can be a infectious to the rest of the guys that step their game up. But that's all I'll say about that. But yeah, Dennis, that's a good point though. But yeah, bro, 2 years later, and think about this for a second. Going into the 2020 season, that's what was said. We need a quarterback. We're going back in time. So that's why the progress that people talk about, yes, it's progress, but bro, let's talk about big picture. Why are we asking the same questions 3 years later? We were asking about a quarterback in 2020. And then when 2022 season came around, we got a quarterback. We got two. We got two quarterbacks. And now, I don't know. Recruiting just part of it. He had a plethora of NFL talent. Oregon could not get it done. Irvin, like I said, I go back and forth with people about Mario and what he did at Oregon. And he had a good team. He had some good teams over there. They had some NFL talent. And I'm not gonna put a guy. It's so hard to win a national title. I mean, it's really so hard. It's hard, but it's not because you see guys like Les Miles, you see Ed Orgeron, you see um, the North Carolina defensive coordinator. You see them win, right? And maybe you could even say that Jimbo and Mac Brown lucked into a national title. You know what I mean? But you just need the right pieces at the right time, man. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Georgia's not slowing down. Um, Alabama looked like they were slowing down, but now they look like they're right back in the thick of things. Ohio State is not going anywhere. Um, I don't know because there are rumors out there now that Texas A&M is Ryan Day the guy that they're gonna hire. So, um, so it's yeah, he didn't get over the hump at Oregon, but that was solid. You know what I mean? That's solid. I mean, he was able to do what his predecessors were able to do. So, kudos to him for doing that. Point blank, Mario Cristobal need to let his OC and DC do their job. I think he's let his DC do the job. But I'm gonna tell you what's funny though is it's very interesting when the camera goes to the pans to the sideline when we're on offense. Mario has his headset on, but when we're on defense and they pan over there, he doesn't have his headset on at all. So, I don't know. Um, Dennis said Irving. Okay, so y'all having a different conversation. Dennis says, why am I still over here grabbing the mouse? Dennis says Mario's a caveman dude will never learn he's stubborn over 50. Leopard doesn't change his spots. You know, Dennis, a lot of people are hoping that he does change. But you got guys that don't. Les Miles had one of the best jobs, a top three job in all of college football. All they asked Les Miles to do, Les, you can stay here. All we ask of you is to not run this archaic offense, and you can stay here forever. We've already rendered the sketches for your statue in front of the stadium. They told Les Miles that, you know what Les Miles said? Don't tell me what to do. I won a national championship like this. I went to a national championship running this offense. Ended up playing in the most boring national championship game of all time, or at least in recent memory. They didn't get past the 50. Now think about that. You play in a national championship game. You cannot get past the 50. And you don't feel like that is enough um uh you don't think that's enough of resistance for you to say, you know what, hey, let me change something. Les Miles didn't change. Do I think Mario is as stubborn as Les Miles? Possibly. It's very possible. Very possible. Because the hardest thing for someone to do, because everyone makes the Saban comparison and say, well, hey, look, Nick Saban changed and Nick Saban did this and all this stuff. It's like, okay, well, what about the other ones? Like, I listened to Minister Sports, Zach Smith, right? One of the assistant coaches with Urban Meyer. And as successful as Urban Meyer was, Zach Smith said, look, Urban Meyer did not want to change. It wasn't until he hired Ryan Day. And Ryan Day said, look, Urban, look, we can't keep running this offense. We need to get a quarterback and we can get you a quarterback and throw the ball. You can't keep putting JT Barrett and Tate Martells and looking for the next Tim Tebow. That's the reason it went to crap at Florida. Because you thought Brantley was going to be the next Tim Tebow. Like, no, you need to. So, but again, Urban Meyer got 3 national championships. So who are you to tell Urban Meyer that he can't win a national championship with JT Barrett? Who are you to tell Urban Meyer that I can't make this happen with Braxton Miller? So who is anyone to tell Mario Cristobal that, look, you can't win doing this? Because again, if he's trying to replicate what Georgia's doing, then hey, more power to you. But brother, we ain't got the first top 3 recruiting class yet. So for you to even aim that high, we need a top 3 recruiting class. Not a number 7 or number 8, and we're currently sitting at 11 right now. Right? You need a top 3 recruiting class if you want to even think about doing what Alabama and Georgia's doing. And we're not there yet. Trenches wise, close, right? Close. But we see what happens when a couple of injuries happen. We're not there yet. And you need top 3 classes. We're not gonna look like Georgia with top 7, top 10 classes. Just not gonna happen. Yeah, I wish TVD a speedy recovery. I wish Emory a speedy recovery. I wish both of them. If he doesn't, I think TVD is gonna start. QB Emory book. Dennis, Tyler's arm talent. Now I don't think Emory does have Tyler's arm talent, but I don't think he needs Tyler's arm talent, to be honest. But again, let's be honest here, right? The recruiting services said what they felt Emory was going to be, right? So there's no need for people to try to put extra on it and put him up into this upper echelon, talking about, oh, well, he can be the next Ken Dorsey. Well, again, like I said, if you're going to recruit top 3 recruiting classes for the next 3 years, then yeah, throw Emory out there. But if you're talking about you need top 7, and you need a guy that's gonna win the game for you, bro, I'm not. Look, 8-23 does nothing for me. Especially when I watched Brad Kaya, true freshman, go in the game against similar circumstances, and at no point was he ever 8 for 23. In the playbook wasn't dialed back. So I don't want to do that. Wanted to stop by, say hello, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Appreciate what you do. I appreciate you too, South Coast. Dennis, we screwed. Facts. Give me Dan Lanning. At least we know he isn't allergic to offense. The you in that prime is a great feeling. Yes. Hey, John, I don't know that feeling. I don't know that feeling. Obviously, the closest I got to that is 2017, right? And we see how that year ended. Pitt, Clemson, Wisconsin, who we have not beat in a bowl game, So I don't know what that feels like. There's I don't think we're screwed. I don't think we're screwed. I don't. Um, he's definitely the Michael. I know I'm a little behind, but yeah. Gary Furman asked him why we didn't run anything close to air raid. His statement was Mike Leach didn't have a boss to answer to. Who? Wait a minute. Shannon Dawson said that to Gary Furman. Oh, I, I already gave my thoughts about this. If Shannon Dawson is the offensive coordinator next year, I'll be surprised. I promise you. I mean, it would shock me to see Shannon Dawson here next year. I know people have made mention about the situation with Coach Guidry and his statements, and those statements were. I don't know if those are statements that you kind of want to hear because it's like you're saying your agent hasn't told you anything, which we all know that means yes, your agent has called you and said that you're a hot commodity, right? So your agent is working with 80 Radakovich and everybody else to see, what you feel that you're worth. You know what I mean? Uh, so that statement for him to make that statement, that didn't soothe me at all with Gidry saying that. That made me seem like, when everybody was talking about the LSU situation, I'm sitting there like, I mean, would he really? I know everybody wants to go home, but do you really? I mean, do you really want to go to LSU? But again, it's kind of like when Coach Cool was here. And that was one of the things that people said. He was a Midwest guy, had always kind of been in the Missouri area, and he just couldn't adapt to being in Miami, right? Didn't stop him from doing his job, but he just couldn't adapt to being in Miami. So I'm really sitting here thinking to myself, are we really on the verge of Lance Guidry in a situation like Miami's cool, but I feel more at home kind of being in the country where I can go out and get on the um, fan boat, and I can go get some crawfish, and I can go get some shrimp and all that stuff. So that statement just was like, bro, you basically said that your agent is blowing you up, saying, "Look, they want to offer, they want to offer, they want to offer," and Mario knows that. But like I said, if Shannon Dawson's here next year, it'll shock me. But bro, if Shannon Dawson and y'all said he said it, bro, when you say something like that, that's like, hey man. But like I said, if y'all go back and look at the games, when they pan to the sideline, Mario does not have a headset on when defense is being when we're running defense. But when offense is being called, it's on. Bro, this is crazy. Bro, think about this, bro. We cannot have a situation where in 2 consecutive years we lose both coordinators. I don't listen to post game pressers. That's why I'm glad I do. That's why I'm glad I do this because y'all inform me of stuff that I didn't know. If it's not reported somewhere, if I don't feel like reading it, I'm not gonna see it. But Shannon Dawson saying that's crazy. That's crazy. We thought last year was toxic. I think this year is even more toxic. I think it is, and I think Cohen and Lee are the difference between us being 5-7 again versus us being 6-5 right now. I stand on that. As good as the defense has played, as good as the defense has played, uh, us being able to run the ball this year with having Cohen and not just to put it on Cohen and Lee because again Jalen Rivers played well, Inez Cooper's played well, Francis has played well for a freshman, but we very well could be 5-7 again this year. Just it just it looks bad, man. I'm in studio question. I see. What studio say studio TV out for this game? Who is left? Wait a minute. Who said? Are y'all saying TV's not gonna? So this is a real thing. Like TVD might not play. Come on now. I know that I know they said he was non-committal on would he return to Miami or would he play in the bowl game. But are y'all saying that he also made mention that he might not play against us? Where do I be at? I spend too much time on Twitter, man. I need to get out of Twitter. I need to put my feet back on the ground. I didn't let me see. Mario's the OC killer too. Mario walking around campus. He might be. No, I heard Hope Speedy recovery, so I was actually hoping. Oh, to me, Ken Dorsey was average, if not below average. He just had the whole roster. Studio, that is what will get people hey, you know what? Studio, I'm glad you said that. What's up, Bird? What the big slits or whatever it is. He did a little impromptu video. He was talking about that the reason Miami has been in the shape is that we haven't had a quarterback that has been NFL talent. And Groove put up Brad Kyle, which I think Brad Kyle is probably the best example of an NFL quarterback that we've had. In reality, he's probably the most successful quarterback that we've had in recent memory. Over Brock Berlin. But I'm sitting here thinking about our national championships, right? With the exception of Bernie Kosar, we won a national championship with Steve Walsh, who ended up getting drafted in a supplemental draft, which means that you did not even get drafted in a regular draft. Gino Torretta won 2 national championships, won a Heisman, and he wasn't the first round draft pick. And then obviously Ken Dorsey. So we won 4 national championships with quarterbacks who did nothing of substance in the NFL. Nothing. Now, we go back and say about, Vinny should have won. We should have won with Vinny. But to me, Vinny, man, bro, come on, man. Vinny threw, hey, what Vinny did in that game, Vinny took that right onto the NFL, throwing the ball to the other team. Vinny tested very well awful in the NFL. Somebody really trying to argue with me about that. Talking about how long Vinny played. And I'm sitting there like, bro, it's a lot of dudes that played a long time that wasn't good. It's just like you're a good teammate. You're not gonna shake the cage. Not gonna do none of that. But ain't nobody about to sit up here and argue with me and say Vinny Testaverde was a good quarterback. No, we're not doing that. I promise you not doing that. I heard Dawson may leave on. I mean, I saw that too. I wouldn't blame Dawson, but this is insane. If we really sitting up here, in a situation where we replacing coordinators again, like that's crazy. Dawson said Leach passed away and he worked for himself. Oh, okay. Studio, you can argue Kiko not hear our defense get thrashed. Yeah, we could make that argument too. Hey, listen, kudos to Coach Cristobal and staff for going to get some difference makers in the portal. Progress. I don't know about thinking this negative, but yeah, Kiko has been a huge addition, like huge addition. Oh, bro, but that's crazy though, man. So what y'all say about TVD again? TVD said he playing versus BC ball game. Oh, okay. That's not what I'm saying. That's kind of along with what I heard. Like he said he was non-committal about the ball. But think about this though. If TVD don't play in the ball game, who gonna play quarterback? But you know what? We don't have to play in the ball game. That's the thing. We don't have to play. If TVD doesn't want to play, and Jakari is, but this is the thing about this. We'll know Jakari's intention before a bowl game is announced because the portal opens December 3rd. So we'll know. So, and more than likely, we won't have a bowl game before December 3rd. So we'll know. So we can opt out of the bowl game. So it's really not that big of a deal. Teams can pick and choose whether or not they want to play in a bowl game, regardless of what Mario Cristobal said. But again, maybe he might go in there feeling like Art Browse. Art Browse played North Carolina in a bowl game, and all they did was line up and run triple option all night. I think they ran for like 70 yards on them guys. I remember that game because it was so crazy. Like all their quarterbacks got hurt. So I mean, we could go out there and do that. Brashard, like there's a real bro, there's a real conversation right now. Are we going to run Wildcat in a bowl game? That's a real conversation right now. It's crazy. We really haven't had an NFL talent at QB since Jim Kelly. Bernie too. Me was okay, but a fluke. All other quarterbacks straight. Yeah. So QB when I'm not QB, but still, when he made that video, I was like, I'm sitting there thinking, I said, bro, we won one national title. We won one national title with a quarterback that was worth anything in NFL. And the best quarterback that we ever had to play here at the University of Miami, he didn't win a national title, he didn't win a Super Bowl, but he's a Hall of Famer. So it's crazy. Go out to catch the rewatch. All right, Bird. Um, yeah, Vinny was terrible. Football is a different game now. Can't win without a legit offense. Feel bad for anyone that thinks 5 yards and this offense will win anything. Hey, Dennis, you know what's crazy about that? You know what I've been, what I've been hearing people say? I've been hearing people say Mario is trying to turn us into a Big Ten team, and nobody is pushing back on that. But when El Golden was here and that was said, it was all South Florida this, South Florida that. And now it's like, hey, man. But again, I know what it is. It's two things at play here. There are people that are living vicariously through Mario. And if you say something about Mario, they feel like you personally attacking them. And then it's the other thing of, man, if it don't work for Mario, we're not gonna get this commitment again. And it's like, bro, we were behind from a facility standpoint. That was the biggest issue. The facilities are already drafted. The money has already been exchanged. They already started. So when you say it won't be that much of a commitment, I think that's kind of like how when it comes to like politics, and I don't want to make this a political thing, but you know how certain people say, well, certain people use scare tactics, like, oh well, man, if you don't vote for me, man, they gonna do this. So it's kind of like, bro, man, if Mario don't work, if you don't get behind him, man, the next coach, man, we might not even have a weight room. It's crazy. LA Kane fan, go get two quick. We ain't got no choice but to get. Listen, we ain't got no choice but to go get two quarterbacks in the portal. We have no choice. And we have to hope that they work. And we also have to hope that we have no more problems going into next year, which is going to lead me to my next point. But I want to read these next two comments, and then I'm going to get to that. Shout, I was about to give our coaches game of the year until the end. I was like, what the F? OC called the best game since A&M, but the defense got yeah, bro. And that's crazy because the announcers continue to rub it in. Louisville has not used their tight ends like this all year. I'm like, bro, y'all chill out. Mario tried to turn Mario did turn Oregon into a Big Ten team. He did. Which is why bro, before our game came on, or maybe it was during our game. Yeah, it was during our game because I was in the champagne room, so I was watching the game on my phone and I was watching Oregon. Bro, Bo Nix had 5 passing touchdowns in the first half last Saturday. 5. Bro, Oregon defense and offense look so much different right now. Like, yeah, Mario successfully turned Oregon into a Big Ten team. He did do that. And now Oregon is they got a Big 12 offense. I'm not gonna say they got an SEC defense right now. I'll say they have like an ACC, like maybe like an ACC type of defense, like a Florida State type of, Florida State, maybe Miami, Clemson type of defense. Well, not Clemson, but maybe like a Miami, Florida State type of defense. They got that, but yeah, Oregon is fun right now. What's up, IMAX? Diz Lopez, get right here for head coach. He's 92 SMU with top 10 offense. You know what? I think with SMU going to the ACC, I think Rhett Lashley got everything he needs, and it's gonna be on him. They gonna flood. They gonna. Bro, think about this. These people came up with $100 million a week. 100 million in a week. So NIL is not gonna be a problem with. Look. SMU got a documentary. SMU will pay. We just needed somewhere with some good food. So Rhett Lashley is about to have an opportunity to have a big pool to get some good assistant coaches in there with him. NIL is gonna be it's gonna be very attractive. Dallas is attractive city. You know what I mean? So it's not a college town by any stretch of the imagination. Dallas, Texas, not a college town. So Rhett Lashley gonna have a lot of ammunition coming into the ACC, and yeah, gonna get it together. Um, Mario put his hands on the offense in the bye week, stuck in the past. You know, a lot of people saying it. I mean, I don't know. Most people chopped it up to TVD turning the ball over, but even before the turnovers, a lot of people were saying some of these passing concepts and all this stuff, and even the run game, it looks a lot different. You know, even without the turnover. So you know, it is what it is. What difference maker at QB is willing to gamble their NFL future hitching their wagon to Mario, let alone two? You know, Dennis Lopez, I'm not even thinking about a game changer at quarterback. I'm not, because Anthony Brown was a game changer. I'm looking more so at a situation where you go get a quarterback um take a quarterback from Louisville, for instance. Similar numbers to TVD, but Jake Brom was able to put him in situations where he didn't hurt where he didn't hurt them. A quarterback like that, you can go get him. And hey, look, you get a world class education. You need to come to South Beach. Look, we're gonna put a good offensive line around you. So we're not. I'm not looking. See, people talking about Dante Moore. Like, bro, Dante Moore is not coming enough. Well, you know what? Let me not say that. Anything can happen. But if a Dante Moore is looking to maximize his talents and all that stuff like that, you're not coming to Miami. You're not doing it. Um, SMU has tech. Yeah, you saw what A&M did. SMU can do the exact same thing. Texas can do the exact same thing. Well, Texas been doing it, right? But Texas is one of those blue bloods. Um, Pratt, I don't know. Is Mike? I mean, Michael Pratt probably would fit into that category, being a little bit better than Plummer. I can see that. Game changing quarterback gonna put. Hey, but QB, you know they said Restrepo. If TVD leave, Restrepo leaving too. So, bro, think about that. We lose our leading receiver, even though we have some dynamic freshmen that are committed. They haven't signed yet, but they're committed. But I don't know. And Jacoby Jones got a decision to make. Is he going to come back? So I mean, it's a lot of stuff. But I'm trying to hold off on that. We don't have a Jeff Brom and OC worth his side and hitch his way. No, we don't. But Dennis, this is what I will say. It's some Danny Nose is out there. Some Josh Gaddis is out there. Uh, I think what it is, the offensive like Kurt Ferentz. He got his son. He got his son as offensive coordinator at Iowa. He hitch his wagon to Mario. That joker had a clause in his contract that he wouldn't get fired. If, or I think Iowa had to score like 25 points a game, and they failed to do it. So he could hitch his wagon. So it's a Big Ten, like a former Wisconsin, like let's take this for instance, like the Wisconsin wide receiver coach. Sure, it's not gonna be an issue to get someone to hitch their wagon to Mario. It's just about what the offense is gonna look like. You know, that's all it's gonna be about. But um, so anyway, let's get to this. Let's talk about the roster for a little while because I'm not trying to stay on here too long. I know Coach Hayes is coming on a little bit later, but let's think about what the team's gonna look like next year, right? I know in one of my previous lives I said, "Man, the defense is gonna be really, really good next year." Like I'm really excited. But then after the live was over, I had a little time to think, and I said, "Wait a minute, man. I remember we were kind of in the same situation after the 2017, no, 2018 season, right? And we were like, bro, Brother Bolden and Gervin Hall, they replacing Red Wine and JJ. Man, the safety room is about to be lit." And then, Shaq left, right? And I'm a complete honesty about Shaq. I like Shaq, but I felt like we needed more out of Shaq because it was games where Shaq would just go and you know just disappear. Like you look at the stat line, like Shaq had 2 tackles this game. Like, bro, like I'm gonna tell you when Shaq kind of upset me. 2018, we played LSU. You got Devin White on one side, you got Shaq Quarterman on the other side, and then also we had AR and they had Greedy. So I'm like, bro, man, we about to have a great matchup. But obviously, Gerald Willis ended up stealing the show. Shaq played decent, and obviously, we understand what happened to Amon Richards. But that was a game I was looking for Shaquille Quarterman to go out there and at least get because LSU was going to run the ball. At least 12, 13 tackles, 14 tackles, match what Devin White was doing. He didn't do it. So I say it to say this. We're in a situation now where we could be in a situation where we're replacing both safeties, right? Do we know if Markeith like I'm high on Jaden Davis. I mean Jaden Harris. Is Jaden Harris as good as James Williams? Is Markeith Williams as good as Cam? You know? I think we're good with Damari Brown. You know what I mean? But will Daryl Porter return? Will he come back? I think Kiko's going to stay, but Kiko, I know your little brother's on the team, but Kiko, you gotta look at it like this. Is LT coming back? You know what I'm saying? And like, because if LT doesn't come back, and I think someone was rumoring that the defensive tackle that we got from Alabama, he already has violated some type of team rule or something like he like they hinting like he's not on the team or they kind of keep it on the hush. So it's kind of like you gotta look at it like that. Like, bro, next year could be a lot more hard, could be a lot harder for you as a linebacker because your front may not be as good. So you gotta take that in consideration. Um, I think Mesidor is going to return. You know what I mean? But at the same time, Mesidor, you've had 2 seasons where you've been injured, so it's like you want to come back to show the NFL that you can stay healthy. But then if it happens again, it's over, right? So, but I'm sure he has an agent that's gonna work some stuff out. So just think about what we're losing on the defense. We're losing 2 safeties. I think they said Corey Flagg walked, so Corey Flagg will either he may transfer or he may leave. And we have not. And think about this: we have not since conference play. We have not been in a position to get the young guys very many snaps. So those guys are going to be green, right? Now, a lot of talent, but it's going to be green. And so we are assuming that guys are going to play at a level, but like Wes Saint is still figuring some things out, right? So who's to say that our redshirt freshman linebackers are going to have it figured out where they're not a liability out there? You know what I mean? Um, like I said, defensive line needs a major overhaul. We need some defensive tackles. We need some stuff like that. Like I said, I've already made mention about the offensive line. Does Jalen Rivers stay or does he go? Javion Cohen has already indicated he's leaving. Matt Lee, are you going to stay or are you going to go? Obviously, we know Inez Cooper and Francis are coming back. Restrepo, where's Restrepo going to do? Where's Jacoby George going to do? What's Rashard Smith going to do? What is Jaleel Skinner going to do? What are we going to do at quarterback? So we got a lot more questions going next year. And I made a video about this in the offseason. I said when we look at the way Mario has attacked the portal and some things like this, he's pushing all his chips to the middle of the table. And it's we're either gonna win big, or we're gonna crap out. And essentially we've crapped out. And so right now, we're hoping that he can work his magic. He and the staff can work their magic and get some flips, going into next year. because I already see. Because listen, and I know some people that listen to me. You know, they respect what I do. They respect my vantage point, and they also respect the vantage points and viewpoints of people that I don't wholeheartedly agree with your stance. But I do not. But this is setting the stage for a third year of excuses. If some of these guys do not come back, it's setting the stage for a third year of excuses. Last year was man. This year is TVD. Next year is, oh well, we too young. But y'all just said we young this year. So, like I said, hey, I go back and forth with you all day. You know what I'm saying? I got time. I always got time. But on the being honest, like bro, we could lose. We're set. We could potentially lose a lot, and it's not just gonna be we need a quarterback next year. It's not just gonna be that. It's gonna be because everyone's making it about the quarterback. Because again, we knew we knew going into 2022. What was it? We needed defense. So then after 2022, it was like, okay, we need an offensive coordinator, we need a defensive coordinator, we need better on the offensive line. So we got all of that. And then now we just need a quarterback. No, we don't just need a quarterback. We need a quarterback, we need some defensive tackles. We're gonna need to see what the safety's gonna do. And we need to see what the offensive line gonna look like. So we got more questions than just quarterback. I don't want to, TVD's the punching bag. I know he is, but we got a lot of questions going into next year. And some questions may arise when December 3rd hit. So I don't want to be doom and gloom, but it's like, bro, um, we can't go 5-7 and then best case scenario that we got right now is, we can still go 8-5. We can still go 8-5. I think that goes a long way. But I'm thinking more 7-5. Really 7-6 to be honest. I'm thinking 7-6. Be 6-6. We could be 6-7. Like what's going on right now? We could be 6-7. But I don't want to say that. But think about that. You go from 7-5 to 5-7 to matching 7-5 or 7-6 or hopefully 8-5. Hopefully 8-5 because it's still on the table. And then next year you lose a lot of guys to the NFL, you lose some guys to the transfer portal, all that good stuff like that. And not saying we won't get some guys in the portal ourselves, but at the same token, it's kind of like if you depending on who leaves in the portal, do you feel like you're gonna get the same value that they left? Do you think you'll get the same value from the portal as the guys that left? I don't think so. But you gotta think about that. You gotta think about that. Like, if the transfer portal wasn't here, then we wouldn't have these questions because we would know who's leaving. We already know, like, all right, well, we know the safeties are leaving, but we know none of the younger guys are gonna leave, like guys that we're gonna depend on next year. But it's like, bro, we got more. It's like, bro, we got more questions now than we did when Manny got fired. So, Dennis, it could, it could get real bad. It could, but Shad, the NFL has proven having a good quarterback cures a lot of ills. Yeah, it does. It does. But I don't think what Mario Cristobal is building or trying to build is indicative or dependent upon having a good quarterback. I mean, Justin Herbert was a good quarterback, but Justin Herbert didn't set the world on fire with his statistics, which is why most NFL people like we didn't know he was this good. You know what I mean? So but he's with the Chargers, and he looks like his career. He's looked like he's about to be a less successful Phillip Rivers, and that's saying a lot. Not saying Phillip Rivers was a good quarterback, but Phillip Rivers had some great teams, and they didn't sniff a Super Bowl. They didn't sniff a Super Bowl. So I don't know. Good QBs have good OCs. QB, bro. When I tell you, bro, Michael Penix got me in a chokehold. Pause. That didn't sound right, but bro, I love Michael Penix. I love what Kalen DeBoer is doing. I hope my Raiders can get Michael Penix. I love what Michael Penix is doing. Right? Michael Penix went up there. with some guys, which I know some of them guys are kind of maybe some holdovers from when the other coach was there. But man, they got some man, it's nice up there. Michael Penix is good. Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's the crazy thing about it. Like we wouldn't have never seen if it had not been for the portal. Washington wouldn't be in contention for a national championship this year. So I mean, but Michael Penix is in a system that's helping him. Bo Nix is in a system that's helping him. And 2 years ago, wasn't nobody Michael Penix, Bo Nix over TBD. You better go lay down somewhere. Mario fans are gonna have TVD as their punching bag next year. Who's next year's scapegoat? Mario gonna have to blame Susan for those. Dennis, I already told you what the scapegoat gonna be. The scapegoat gonna be. Um, the team is young. That's what the scapegoat gonna be. The team is young. Simple as that. Because I've always stood on the stance of this. This is an older team. It's not a very old team, but this is an older team. Like we have a lot of draft eligible guys this year. Like I was having a discussion with someone on the message board. They were talking about something about a draft or something like that. And I said, um, bro, our draft eligible guys are eligible this year. Not last year, but this year. Our best players this year. You know what I mean? Um, but I don't know, man. Um, I'm gonna say this, bro. One with a nightmare in put me on my misery. Hey, Dennis. Hey, hey, Streeter from KV, he said the nightmare is over right now. So, I don't know. I want to say this, man, before I get out of here. Uh, I saw the. I want y'all to answer this in the chat. And anybody on that watches the replay, I want y'all to answer this in the comment section, right? So the Bobby Bowden quote. Um, first you lose big, then you lose close, then you win close, and finally you win big. Now, that's a great quote. That's a great quote because you can apply that to life. Like someone that may be overcoming an addiction, someone that's overcoming a traumatic experience in their life, coming back from bankruptcy, losing a business, maybe losing a loved one or something like that. That's a great quote in life. But when you put this quote to football, I got a question. So let's just play our season out, for instance. Let's go to the Georgia Tech game, and let's just say we won. Let's say that we beat Georgia Tech, right? Let's because we did. There wasn't a fumble. Georgia Tech lost close. We won close. So does that mean that Georgia Tech is gonna win close next time, and we're gonna lose close? Because if according to the quote, Georgia Tech is supposed to win close, and then we supposed to finally win big eventually. And it's like, how can both of those things happen at the same time? How can Georgia Tech win close and then we win big? Like, these 5 games that we played, we won close against Clemson. Clemson lost close. So it's like that's a great quote to say. It's like, bro, I don't remember no one saying this quote when Manny was here. I don't remember this quote when Al Golden was here. I don't remember hearing that quote. Like, where did this quote come from? When did Bobby Bowden say that? But again, I understand, but it's like, bro, if you lose close and the other team win close and y'all match up again, what's gonna happen? I want to know, like, what does that mean really? Because in order for us, but again, in order for us to win big, finally win big, that means that we're going to that means that we would have won big against the teams that we won close against, that we also lost close against. But what about the teams that lost close to us? What do they do? Do they never not win big? Do they never not win close? So I'm just like Louisville. That was a close win for Louisville. That was a close loss for us. Do we have the upper hand against Louisville next time that we play? Because it's like when people say stuff like this, and sometimes I guess I'm a critical thinker. Like when someone says, like, "Hey, when you look at the losses that we had, like